All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down one of the biggest, most important shifts in our digital lives. It's the story of how that shiny phone in your pocket went from being just a tool, something you own, to being a territory. A whole digital country where you're a citizen. And the company that made it, well, they're the king.
And this quote right here, this is the key to understanding everything we're about to talk about. It just perfectly nails the change we've all been living through. We used to buy products. Simple. Now we move into ecosystems. And getting your head around that difference, that's absolutely everything.
Okay, so think about it like this, right? You go out and buy a hammer. It's yours. Done. The company that made it has absolutely zero say in what you do with it. You can build a house or smash a window. They don't care. That's a tool. But an iPhone, when you buy an iPhone, you're not really just buying a thing. You're buying a key that unlocks a gate. You're stepping into Apple's world, a world where they decide which apps are allowed, they write all the laws, and they control the entire economy inside. See? It's not a tool. It's a territory.
And you got to understand, this massive shift didn't just happen by accident. No way. It was a deliberate and, honestly, a brilliant business strategy. This is what people call the platform doctrine, a master plan to stop selling you things and start building worlds for you to live inside of.
And this chart, man, it just lays out the difference so clearly. Back in the day, with the old product-centric model, the most important asset was, well, the product. The goal was super simple: sell as many of them as you can. But in this new ecosystem model, the core asset isn't the phone anymore. It's the whole network of people, the users, and the developers. The goal completely changes. It's now about getting us to interact inside their world as much as possible. In our relationship, we're not just customers anymore. We're more like citizens, living under the rules of the platform.
So here's the real mind bender. A platform business isn't really in the business of making stuff anymore. They're in the business of making connections. Think about it. Uber doesn't own cars, it connects riders and drivers. Apple doesn't make most of the apps, it connects you with the people who do. They've stopped being manufacturers and have become the architects of the entire market.
So how does a territory like this grow so big, so fast? Well, these digital kingdoms, they play by a completely different set of rules. And every single rule is designed with one and only one goal in mind: becoming the only game in town. And it really just boils down to these two incredibly simple rules. First, you've got the party rule. Economists call it network effects, but it's just like a party, right? The more people who show up, the better the party is for everyone. And once all your friends are at that party, it's the only one you want to go to. Then there's the freebie rule. To get that party started, you got to let one side in for free. That's us, the users. Why? To attract the other side that you can actually charge, like the app developers or the advertisers.
So let's be totally clear here. According to the economic theory from Nobel Prize winner Jean Tirole, becoming a monopoly isn't some unfortunate side effect of being successful. No, it is the entire strategic point of the game from day one. The goal was never to have the best party. It was to have the only party.
And this brings us to probably the most successful version of this whole strategy ever created, the walled garden. Think about iOS from Apple. It's beautiful, right? It's safe, everything is perfectly designed, everything just works. But we have to remember, those beautiful walls were built for a very specific reason, to make it really, really hard for you to ever leave. And they've built these walls so cleverly. First up is the money wall. I mean, you've already spent hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars on apps and movies. If you leave, you got to buy them all again, forget it. Then there's the memory wall. All your photos, all your iMessages with your family. Trying to get all that stuff out is, as one person put it, shockingly complicated. And finally, you hit the brain wall. Just the thought of having to learn a completely new system from scratch, it's exhausting. So, you stay.
Okay, so why is all of this so urgent right now? Because that exact same playbook, the same strategy of building walls, is being used right now to build the next great territory. And this new territory is artificial intelligence.
And look, the leaders of the tech world are being completely open about this. As Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella says, this isn't just another cool feature. They see AI as the fourth massive platform shift in the history of computers. This is the new ground. This is what everything else is going to be built on top of.
But here's the crucial difference, the part that's really new. AI isn't being designed to just be another tool inside the garden. It's being built to be the garden itself. The ultimate goal is for AI to become the invisible operating system that you do your thinking in.
And I'm not being metaphorical here. This is literally a neurological reality. A wild study from MIT in 2024 put people inside brain scanners while they worked on essays. The group using ChatGPT, they showed the least amount of brain activity. But here's the part that should give you chills. When they were asked to rewrite the essay later from memory without the AI, they could barely remember any of it. The act of thinking itself was so completely outsourced that the knowledge never even made it into their own long-term memory.
Which brings us to the final piece of this puzzle, and it's the most revealing one of all. See, everybody thinks they know how these digital landlords are making their billions, but the biggest secret hiding in plain sight proves this entire story we've been telling. Just look at this number, $1.3 trillion. That's the size of the economy running inside Apple's App Store in a single year. It's just an unbelievable amount of money flowing through one company's territory. And the popular story, the one we all hear, is that Apple gets rich by taking its 30% cut.
But here's the catch. Here's the truth that gets buried. Apple collected absolutely zero commission on over 90% of that $1.3 trillion. Let me say that again. The overwhelming majority of the massive economy inside their own garden pays them no direct tax at all.
So, that leads to the big question, doesn't it? If the money isn't really coming from that infamous 30% Apple tax we hear so much about, then what in the world is the real business model?
The real business is owning the territory itself. First, they get you by selling the price of admission, that expensive iPhone that's your key to the gate. Second, they profit by controlling all the data, which gives them this godlike view of what everyone is doing. And ultimately, the real prize is being the king. It's the raw power to set every single rule for a trillion-dollar economy. And this right here is the ultimate proof of the whole idea. The goal was never just to put a tax on all the little shops. The real goal was to build the most valuable, most desirable city in the world, and then profit from owning the land, the roads, the gates, the whole shebang.
So, as we stand here, right at the beginning of this next great territory, the one being built not for our phones, but for our minds, the question it leaves us with is a big one. It's a personal one. As AI becomes the operating system for how we think, who do you want to be your landlord?